Let me take you back to a time when I was stuck, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I was waking up every day going through the motions. It felt like I was busy, but I wasn't fulfilled. I was surrounded by noise, chasing things that didn't mean anything to my soul. Have you ever felt that empty ache even when everything on paper seems fine? The turning point came when I got radically honest with myself. I stopped pretending that success equals purpose. I stopped chasing validation and started asking better questions. Not what do I want, but what am I here to give? That question, it broke something open inside of me. You see, your purpose isn't found in comfort. It's forged in the fire. It's born in the moments when you're broken, when everything falls apart, and you choose to stand up anyway. I found mine not in a classroom, not in a book, not in someone else's expectations, but in the stillness after the storm. In the moment when I realized that the pain I went through wasn't meant to destroy me, it was meant to shape me. I discovered that purpose is not a destination, it's not a title, it's a decision to live intentionally, a decision to stop being a victim of your story and become the author of your future. I stopped blaming, stopped waiting, and started becoming. Becoming the person I needed when I was struggling. Becoming someone who could lift others up because I had learned to lift myself. And I want to tell you something that might sting. No one is coming to hand you your purpose. You've got to get in the trenches, you've got to fight for clarity, you've got to strip away the lies and find the truth that's been buried underneath the noise. You were born with purpose, but it's your responsibility to awaken it. When I aligned my life with something bigger than my fears, when I realized that I wasn't here just to survive, but to serve, to impact, to lead, everything changed. I no longer needed motivation because I had meaning. And meaning will carry you through storms that motivation could never withstand. So if you're searching, if you're wandering, good. That means you're still alive. That means there's something inside you that knows you're made for more. Lean into that. Stop waiting for permission, stop settling, get quiet, get clear, and then go all in. Because once you find your purpose, you don't walk anymore. You run. You don't exist. You ignite. You don't hope for change. You become the change. And that's how I found mine. There comes a time in life when the noise around you quiets down just enough for you to hear the truth inside. That moment doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes when you're broken, questioning, and worn down. That's where I found myself. Everything looked okay on the outside, but inside I was lost. I wasn't living. I was just existing, and it was in that space, in that raw vulnerability, that I started to realize something powerful. Purpose isn't discovered on mountaintops. It's uncovered in the valleys. We're taught to chase happiness, to chase achievement, to chase recognition. But those things don't feed the soul. They're temporary highs that fade when the applause stops. The real search begins when you stop chasing and start listening. I had to get brutally honest with myself. I had to stop pretending that just being busy or productive meant I was living with purpose. Deep down, I knew there was more, but I was afraid to admit it. Because once you admit you're not fulfilled, you can't keep living on autopilot. You have to do something about it. The truth is, pain is a guide. It's a signal, not a sentence. It shows you where something is missing or misaligned, and most people run from it. I did too, for a long time, but when I finally faced it, when I stopped numbing it and started asking why it was there, it opened a door I didn't know existed. I started seeing my struggles not as obstacles, but as clues. Each pain point, each moment of breakdown, was a signpost pointing me closer to who I really was and what I was meant to do. There's something sacred about hitting a low point because it strips away all the masks. You can't pretend anymore. You're forced to confront the truth, who you are, what you believe, what actually matters, and it's in that truth where purpose lives. You don't find it by reading a quote or watching a video. You find it by looking your fear in the face and saying, I'm not going to hide anymore. Finding your purpose isn't about arriving at some perfect answer. It's about committing to the search. It's about being courageous enough to stop living the life others expect of you and start building the one you're meant for. It's about realizing that your struggles didn't happen to you, they happened for you. To refine you, to prepare you, to shape you into the person who can handle the calling that's been waiting on you all along. So yes, I found my purpose, but not because someone handed it to me. I found it in the quiet after the storm, in the questions no one could answer but me, and in the pain that refused to be ignored, and I wouldn't trade that journey for anything, because on the other side of that pain I found power. I found clarity, I found me. For a long time I believed that purpose was something you stumbled upon, like a hidden treasure you were lucky enough to find one day, but I was wrong. The truth is, purpose isn't found. It's chosen. It's not a place you arrive at. It's a commitment you make. It's not about waiting for the stars to align or for life to give you some magical sign. It's about deciding to live with intention, to stop drifting, and to take ownership of your life. And that realization changed everything for me. There's a moment when you realize that no one is going to do it for you. No one is going to come rescue you, give you clarity, or hand you a perfect plan for your life. That was a hard pill to swallow, but it was also the beginning of freedom, because once you understand that purpose is a decision, you stop waiting and you start moving. You stop asking the world who you should be and start telling it who you are. When I began to see purpose not as a destination but a decision, my energy shifted. I didn't need to have every answer before I took action. I just needed to start, and that starting point was choosing to live on purpose instead of by default. That meant waking up with a sense of direction, not because I had a perfect map, but because I had made a decision to walk towards something greater than comfort or convenience. The reason so many people feel lost is because they're waiting for certainty. But purpose isn't born in certainty. It's born in commitment. It's born the moment you say, enough is enough. I'm not going to let fear dictate my future. That's when the internal shift happens. You begin to make decisions based on vision, not survival. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. And let me be clear, choosing your purpose doesn't mean everything becomes easy. In fact, it often gets harder. You'll face resistance, setbacks, and self-doubt. But here's the difference. Now your pain has meaning. Now your effort is fueled by something deeper than just a paycheck or approval. Now you're not just existing. You're becoming. Every day, I still choose my purpose. It's not a one-time decision. It's daily, sometimes hourly. It's a constant process of reminding myself who I am, what I stand for, and what kind of life I'm building. And every time I choose to live on purpose, I become stronger, clearer, more grounded. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. So no, purpose isn't something you find at the end of some perfect journey. It's a decision to stop sleepwalking through life and start owning every moment. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about deciding to show up, to give, to grow, to serve, even when it's hard. That's where the real transformation begins, and that's when life finally starts to feel like yours. For most of my life, I thought purpose was about success, achieving more, making money, earning recognition. But every time I hit a goal, I felt a strange emptiness. It didn't last. I'd celebrate for a moment, then immediately move on to the next thing. Eventually, I had to ask myself a hard question. If I'm doing all the right things, why don't I feel fulfilled? That question led me to a powerful truth. Real purpose isn't about what you get. It's about what you give. We live in a world that tells us to chase status, comfort, and convenience. But purpose doesn't live in those places. Purpose lives in contribution. It lives in the moments when you use your experiences, your gifts, and your struggles to make someone else's life better. That's where fulfillment begins, not in accumulation, but in impact. Once I shifted my mindset from what do I want from life to what can I give to life, everything changed. I began to see people differently. I listened more, I connected more deeply. I realized that my story, with all its pain and imperfections, had value not just for me, but for others. My struggles weren't just things to survive, they were tools I could use to help someone else rise. That's when I truly stepped into purpose, not because I had all the answers, but because I started focusing on service. I began asking, who can I lift today? What difference can I make right now, even if it's small? And let me tell you, those small acts of service added up to something massive. I started to feel alive in a way I never had before. I didn't need the applause anymore because I had meaning. I had direction. I had a reason to get up and fight, even on the hard days. And this is what most people miss. They think they need to become someone great before they can make a difference, but it's the other way around. You become great by making a difference. You become fulfilled by helping someone else feel seen, heard, and valued. That's what purpose is. It's not about chasing the spotlight. It's about being the light. Now I measure success differently. It's not about what I achieve. It's about how many lives I touch, how deeply I connect, how authentically I live. That's what fills me. That's what drives me. And I've learned something powerful. When you focus on contribution, success often follows. But even if it doesn't in the way you expected, fulfillment always does. So if you're searching for your purpose, stop looking outside and start looking at who you can serve. Your purpose is found in the difference you make, not in the things you take. It's in the love you give, the hope you inspire, and the legacy you leave behind. Not in things, but in people. That's where purpose lives. That's where you come alive.